Hey guys, it's Christy and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about my top 10 favorite blush formulas of all time. So before we get into it, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel before you leave. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and let's get into it. Like most people, I do love a good blush. But for me, I also have a lot of specifications that I need a blush to meet. I want it to not give me clown cheeks. I want it to be easy to blend out. I want it to be long wearing. Blush is always the first thing to fade. So I really look for a blush that is really going to hang in there. So that's also very important to me. So obviously I am very picky, but I have pulled from my collection my top 10 formulas, so let's just get into it. Coming at number 10, I decided to put in the Nars blushes. So this is a mini of Orgasm. I also have another shade as well. I do think Orgasm is overrated, but I do think the blush formula is beautiful. I think they're very long wearing. I think the undertones of their shades are beautiful, and for that reason I did have to give these a mention. These are such a cult classic for a reason. They're just really good quality blushes. Nars usually gets it right, but I do have to say these do deserve an honorable mention at number 10. Okay, coming at number 9 is one I do not hear about that much. This is the Wanderlust Primer Infused Blush. I have the shade Mykonos, and what I like about this, so this is their primer infused blush. It is so long wearing. So long wearing. This is definitely a brighter shade. I will say that it's kind of similar to Orgasm in that sense, but it's a little bit brighter. It's a beautiful, beautiful summer blush, but it is so long wearing. This one will last me all day long. With a good setting spray especially, this will not fade, and I have to love it for that reason. Coming at number 8 is a newer blush formula to my collection, but one that I really, really enjoy, and this is the Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Powder Blush. So there's not much that Mario doesn't get right, in my opinion. So I have this shade Poppy Pink, which is a really, really bright, vibrant pink. You can go overboard with it, but it's so blendable and easy to wear that even if you do go overboard, you still have the ability to blend it out and make it wearable. So I really love that. I do want to try some of his more muted shades because I think I would really love the formula even more. These are just blendable. They look so beautiful on the skin, and again, very long lasting. I'm going to repeat myself a lot, but this also has all of the things that I want, especially when it's such a bright shade like this one, and I still feel comfortable reaching for it, and I still trust the formula enough. I mean, in order for me to go for such a bright shade like this, which is definitely out of my comfort zone, it has to be a formula I trust. I did not know if his blush formula was going to be good. This is the first blush I've tried from him, but I just had faith based on a lot of his other products that I would like it, and I was right. So I have to say, this is a wonderful formula. Let's talk about a blush formula that has been around for ages and ages, but for good reason. This is from MAC, and this is their matte powder blush, and I have the shade Melba. So MAC is a brand, again, we don't hear a ton about. I think it might get a lot more use in the pro makeup artist world, but I don't hear a lot about it here on YouTube or any sort of social media. But MAC products are still so, so good. They're just good. And this formula is another one that is super long lasting. This shade in particular looks so beautiful on the skin. This is such a beautiful peachy neutral kind of a blush. This looks great no matter what time of year, and if you do a certain eye look and you're not sure what kind of blush to use, this is such a good shade to just reach into. It never lets me down. But again, the formula is another one that's just long wearing, blendable, looks beautiful. This one is also a little bit It is very pigmented, but you can sheer it out quite easily, and I really, really appreciate that. Coming at number 6 is actually the only drugstore blush I have to suggest, but this is from Milani, and this is their powder blush in Tea Rose. So Milani obviously has their baked blushes as well, which I think are great. I just like these more. This is just such a beautiful formula. This one is definitely a bit more powdery than some of the others, but the price point is wonderful. The shade of this one in particular, Tea Rose, is just so pretty and delicate. And again, blendable, beautiful on the skin, and also quite long wearing. And for me, if blush is the first thing to wear off, I find a lot of drugstore blushes are very quick to do so. So this one is probably, this one has pretty good wear time. Milani just does it right when it comes to blushes, but this formula in particular is my favorite. Speaking of super long lasting blushes, at number 5, this is from Tarte, and this is their Amazonian Clay 12-hour blush in the shade Party. And so this one was a birthday gift a bunch of years ago now. And this is actually my second one of this shade. This is a mini. I had this one, I think I used it up, and so I have this one. This is a very, very pigmented formula, but it is so long wearing. This will stay on all day long. This is such a great formula. I love the Amazonian Clay blush formula. It's so good. In my opinion, it's pretty underrated. I think there was a time when we heard about this blush formula quite a bit. I don't really anymore, in my opinion, but it's still so good. And I think we really shouldn't be forgetting about it because it is that good. And they have such a great shade range as well. And I think what got me about these blushes is how long wearing they are. When I first got this for a birthday gift, I think it might have been 2016. But I first got it and I wasn't a huge blush fan at the time, and I put this on and it was so pigmented. I was like, there's no way, way too much. I was definitely very shy when it came to blush. But over time it grew on me and I learned to love it, and now I'm obsessed with blush, so it doesn't bother me that much. But this formula cannot be forgotten about. It's so good. Okay, coming at number 4, I wanted to mention the Patrick Ta Monochrome Moment Velvet blushes. So I also wanted to suggest his Double Take Cream and Powder blushes. They're both really great formulas. The thing that keeps me from mentioning this one is because it does come with the cream, which is part of what makes this duo so special, and I've kind of kept cream blushes out of this video. Let me know if you'd like to see a separate video just for cream blushes, because I can do that too. But I really wanted to focus on the Monochrome Moment Velvet blushes. So similar packaging as the other ones, but it's just a giant blush pan. Patrick Ta is another one who can do no wrong, in my opinion. I love his blush formula. It is so beautiful, so blendable. This shade is She's Passionate, which is such a beautiful baby pink. It's not too much. It's the perfect shade for every single day. Again, ticks off all the boxes, long wearing, blendable, just looks so beautiful on the skin. And again, this shade is just so easy to wear. And I just love, love, love these blushes. All the blushes I'm mentioning today, they're pretty much all really long wearing, blendable, never patchy, and they get along with all products. This formula is another one of my top favorites. Okay, coming in number 3 is another formula that I just do not hear talked about very often, but I have a duo, and this is the Jouer. I think it's just the Jouer blushes. So I do have a duo here. I also have 2 other shades and a palette. The Jouer blush formula is so beautiful. Their shades, the undertones are gorgeous. If you get a duo, so good. So, so good. This shade in particular has gotten a lot of love out of me. This is Rose Petal. Marigold is definitely more of a peachy tone. When I first got this color was it for me. But lately I find I've been reaching more toward these kind of almost peachy, coppery tone kind of shades. So I'm definitely going to pull this out again and play with this shade more. So at number 2, I have a formula that is very new to my collection, but I have just instantly fallen in love with, so much so that I wanted to put it at number 1. But because it is so new to my collection, I decided it should be number 2 for now. Check back with me in a month and it will probably be my number 1. But this is the BareMinerals bronzer. I have the shade Kiss of Pink. And this is a product that was originally limited edition and was eventually made permanent. So this is one that I heard Kelly Gooch rave about so often, and this one caused quite a stir because it's called the bronzer. And it even says on it, it is a blush and bronzer. Okay, this shade is not a bronzer. Absolutely nowhere is this shade a bronzer, but it looks so beautiful. This is actually what I have on my cheeks today, and I'm absolutely in love with it. I've worn it a couple times now, and every single time it stays with me all day, but it is so pretty. It is so pretty. This shade in particular, but I love this formula so much, I want to order the other shades. I love the way this looks on the skin. There's just something about it that just makes me look so healthy and vibrant and in a way naturally flushed, but obviously I'm wearing makeup. This is one that I can see on a no makeup day, skipping bronzer and just going in with this. I can totally see doing that. I obviously wouldn't drag it all over where I do bronzer, but just all over the cheek, I think that would be beautiful. This formula is just gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. I had no idea what I was missing before I picked this up. There's something about it. You know when you put on a new makeup product and sometimes you're unsure or you don't like it, but then sometimes occasionally you'll just put on a product and you're like, where have you been my whole life? That's this for me. I just love the way this looks on my cheeks. That's it. And yesterday I wore it for a full day and it was still there at the end of the night. And I love this. I love this. I'm absolutely ordering more shades of this. Okay, maybe that should have been number 1. But the number 1 blush formula, in my opinion, is from Pat McGrath. And this is the Skin Fetish Divine Blushes. I have 2 shades. So I have the shade Flirtatious, which is a beautiful muted kind of a mauve pink. It's very much more of a neutral shade. This one goes with everything. And because I love this formula, I also have the shade Cherish, which is another really bright shade like the Makeup by Mario. But like I mentioned with the Makeup by Mario, I really want to trust a formula before I invest in a shade like this. And this formula I do trust. These stick around all day. I also have a palette that includes 2 of the blush shades. There is Divine Rose and Desert Orchid. Desert Orchid is what's kind of got me on that peachy coppery kind of a blush. So beautiful. It sort of gives you that bronzed look, but with a radiance is what I'm trying to say. So far, like I used to go for very, very pinky blushes, and lately I've just been on a kick with these types of shades. I don't know what's going on. But this blush formula is a favorite of mine. Long wearing, blendable, just so beautiful on the skin. And I have used, in particular, Flirtatious so much. This blush has been used so much and you can still see the embossment. That's great. I think I might be starting to wear down the roses, just starting to in the middle, but this blush formula is absolutely phenomenal. I didn't pick up her new ones, the blush and highlighter ones with the kind of like a combination. That really didn't interest me, but this formula is so good. I really need her to come out with bronzers. And that is it. That is my top 10 favorite blush formulas of all time. Let me know down below, what are your favorite blush formulas? Are there any that you absolutely love that I didn't mention that maybe I should try out? Let me know. But that is it for me today. Thank you so very much for watching. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload at least 3 new videos every single week. And that is it for me today. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!